For old time's sake, for old time's sake, let's start out our PC hardware news today with another burning 12 VHP power connector, this time melting from the power supply end. So hey, there's that. This was posted on Reddit. It looks like it's pretty rare for these to melt from that end of things, and this is on a Be Quiet power supply, and the company has reached out saying this is a unique case. We already have contacted the customer to learn more. Our brand is known for highest quality standards, so we treat this seriously and have initiated an investigation. But just in general, reminder that, yeah, I guess these things are still burning from time to time. Anyway, in other Nvidia news, we have the GeForce RTX 4060, which was announced as being available in July without a specific release date. It is now actually available in June. This is officially not rumored, and on the 29th at 6 a.m. Pacific. Generally, we get reviews and things like that coming out the day before launches are available. So there is that. Now, what are we expecting from this? Well, a reminder that Nvidia did already give their performance claims for the RTX 4060. They claim that without frame generation, it should be 1.2 times as fast as the RTX 3060, and it should be 1.6 times as fast as the RTX 2060. We already have all of the specs. It's an 8GB card, all of that, and it will be coming in at $299, so at least it has that going for it. This was all of the performance claims that Nvidia has made in their marketing materials. Now, in these same marketing slides, they claimed that the RTX 4060 Ti would be 15% faster than the 3060 Ti, and most reviewers put it closer to 10%, so wouldn't surprise me if we end up seeing the 20% being more like 10 or 15%, but we'll have to see what happens. I did check if there was any more performance numbers available on the 4060. It looks like Nvidia's website does have this chart available for 4060 performance, showing it up against the 3060, and it does specify it is up against the 12GB version. However, most of these gaming benchmarks are, other than Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2, which does not have frame generation, and is showing, looks like more than a 20% boost here. That would look like about 30% based on the size of the graph. Do keep in mind that I noticed with the 4060 Ti and some other 40 series cards that this game in particular seems to like the increased L2 cache. So I don't think that this would be a typical result. This is definitely a cherry-picked result to put on this chart, along with these ones that are obviously using frame generation to get large boosts over the 3060 12GB. So again, not really showing us what performance would be like without that. Now we do see some Blender and Autodesk results up here. So anyway, that's what we've got so far performance-wise on that. Now, how about new GPUs from AMD? So many people are curious, okay, well, we had the 7900 XT and XTX, and then we had the 7600 finally. Where's the 7800 and 7700 series cards? Well, we do now see from ASRock, there is a listing filed with the EEC for their for actually two different custom cards for the 7800 XT. The biggest information that we get from these EEC listings is just that they do say 16GB on them. So these would be 16GB cards. It seems like it's a black and a white version of the card. The rest of this would be speculation, other than the fact that if it has 16GB of VRAM, that would confirm that it should have a 256-bit bus. Now, how will these perform, and why have we not seen them sooner? Let's talk a little bit about this. Also, is this coming up? Well, we did also see one other interesting thing related to this, which is a Navi 32 GPU die did show up in a video that wasn't really about that. It was just talking with Lisa Su, but there were some kind of background materials visible here, and this does look like it's a Navi 32 die. But anyway, I think the real problem with the 7800 XT is its price and performance against the 6800 XT and 6950 XT, because that's a bit of the issue right now. So right now you can buy a 6800 XT for as low as $500, and you can get a 6950 XT from AMD for about $600. So we already have cards in this $500 to $600 price range available. And so what can the 7800 XT offer versus those? Well, this is actually an interesting article. This is from Igor's lab, and I want to be clear that he doesn't actually have a 7800 XT that he's testing here, but he is using AMD's Pro Series card, the W7800. And he's done some things to limit it's a 32 gigabyte card. He's, allocating 16 of the gigabytes away to make it not usable by the games, and he's trying to boost the clock speeds up closer to what would make sense for a gaming card. But to be clear, this is not actually a 7800 XT. But in his simulated results here, again, it's just not that much faster than a 6800 XT. That's really the issue. Like, here's his 1440p results. 6800 XT set as 100% baseline, and showing his simulated 7800 XT at 2.5% faster, although he's doing some calculations. You could read the article. I'll link all my articles in the video description to simulate how the efficiency he thinks would work on an actual gaming card, which would be a little bit different, getting it like 8% faster. Well, 8% faster than a 6800 XT is basically a 6950 XT, or maybe even a little bit slower than that. And that's kind of the problem, is if you have the 7800 XT, where are you going to price it, and what does it offer you over what we already have on the market available, right? That's, I think, where the issue is. Because, like I said, a 6800 XT is already coming in at $500 with 16 gigabytes of VRAM. The new cards are a little bit more energy efficient and offer, AV1 encoding. But other than that, it's like, are we already kind of getting this performance at a better price? Because I don't think they'd price a 7800 XT at $500. I think it would be more like $600 or $700, and there's your problem, right? So I think the problem is, until their 6800 XT and 6950 XT cards supply dries up, I just don't see, the point. Now, also, speaking of, are we going to get a 7700 XT? We're seeing even fewer rumors of anything like that, but we are seeing Sapphire revealing a new RX 6750 XT model. Apparently, this one might just be a Chinese thing and coming out for the 618 shopping festival in China. But if we're releasing new models of a 6750 XT, that doesn't really point to there being these drying up and getting a replacement series. And again, the 6700 XT and 6750 XT series from AMD right now, right? Like these had an MSRP of around $480, but now you can buy them around $300. And I think it's going to be really hard for AMD to offer a 7700 XT that actually offers better price to performance than what you've already been able to get from the 6700 XT and 6750 XT for a long time right now. And I think that's the problem, and why we haven't seen the 7700 series or 7800 series from AMD is just that their old lineup is still available and offers really good price to performance, probably priced lower than what they'd want to price their successors. Anyway, in gaming news, kind of a big deal that we have the first Unreal Engine 5 game from a third party. Basically, we had Fortnite, the developers of Fortnite, Epic, also make Unreal Engine 5, and they did update Fortnite to have Unreal Engine 5 features with Lumen and Nanite and all of that. Well, we now have Layers of Fear as the first Unreal Engine 5 third-party game that actually features Lumen. I don't believe the game features Nanite, because it's a very, closed-in horror game, so you're in these tight hallways, and Nanite really helps when you need a lot of levels of detail adjustment to your assets. And so I don't think that really just was necessary for this particular game. Now, I'm very interested in testing Unreal Engine 5 performance in a game other than Fortnite, so expect to maybe see some Layers of Fear benchmarks in my next GPU comparisons, something like that. Also interesting in Unreal Engine 5 news is that Satisfactory, which I think is still in early access, has had an update to Unreal Engine 5 using Lumen lighting system available in it, and there have been some comparison videos of this already. For example, Lumen off, Lumen on. The place isn't just glowing for no reason without any actual light coming in. Now, that might actually affect gameplay in the sense that you would need to accurately place your lights, but again, here's Lumen off, Lumen on. So it looks like it makes a very, very large difference in the lighting of this game. But again, you would have to think about if the game wasn't originally designed with that in mind, you'd need to be carefully... I think this is a game where you build factories, so you would need to be thinking more carefully about how your lighting was situated. But overall, I mean, look at that. Look at the difference of how nicely globally illuminated that is with the. Anyway, I really like the look of what that can do to games. I think the lighting systems are a really big deal. Now, how about AMD coming out with a new 750-watt GPU? Well, this is not a gaming GPU to compete with the 4090. This is an AI accelerator. But they are, I did want to mention, I really cover gaming stuff more than the pro stuff like this, but the Instinct MI300X AI accelerator here is coming in at 750 watts. That's quite the thing they've got going on there, but again, not too relevant to my channel. What might be a little more relevant is Intel 14th Gen Core Raptor Lake refresh chips, apparently coming in October, although this is rumored, and then Sapphire Rapids refresh coming in early 2024. So basically where this is coming from is, this is a videocards.com article, but where they're getting the rumored information from is from ECSM, which is a Chinese media outlet known for leaking a lot of stuff, including Intel leaks, well ahead of time. So basically what we're seeing is October of this year, 2023, we could see the Raptor Lake refresh, which should support the same motherboard. So it would be nice to at least get one more edition of CPUs available on these same 600 and 700 motherboards. I think the idea would be to clock a little bit higher and to have maybe support even faster memory. And then Raptor Lake refresh non-K chips coming in November and December. Then this is more Xeon stuff coming in with a refresh in early 2024, but this means we won't actually, with Meteor Lake S apparently canceled, we're not going to get a desktop full next CPU generation coming until Arrow Lake looks like targeted at Q4 2024 and going into Q1 2025 for the next big full rework on Intel CPUs. Now, let's talk a little bit about some new GPU cooler models coming available. One thing I really like to see here from ASUS is the ProArt line with the 4070 Ti. You know, a lot of GPUs are very gamery looking with all the RGB and things like that. Not everybody's looking for that in their computer. For one thing, you might be using it for professional use cases, not even be a gamer, or maybe you're a gamer who just wants a more serious looking PC. Well, the ProArt design here should help with that kind of blacked out design without a lot of the more gamery and RGB type aesthetic look there. Let's see, we're also seeing 4070 Ti's from Gigabyte getting water blocks treatment from an Aorus Waterforce series. Now, the idea here is basically it's already got the water block installed for you, but you would have to have your own water loop to then, plug it into. But this would save you the trouble of, stripping down a card and adding your own water block, or even voiding your warranty while you did that. So you can buy these available now if you're looking for a 4070 Ti in a water loop. And Gigabyte is also showing their RTX 4090 card with a hidden power connector. Notice the cutout here. So this is on the back plate of the card, so you can get your pin plugged in here. Hopefully it doesn't, catch on fire or anything. Just make sure you seat it properly. Anyway, we've got this kind of hidden here. I do like the trend of looking into new placements of the power connectors for hiding the cords rather than having them always just stick out the end. Also, this helps with if your case, these cards can be so wide that your case can sometimes be pushing on and bending the power cords. So coming out at a different direction could actually help with that. Now, speaking of problems fitting in your case, we do have Zotac rolling out the massive GeForce RTX 4090 PGF graphics card, which apparently has a 28-phase VRM, 381 millimeters long. That is massive with vapor chamber cooling. That's what that one will look like for you. A few more shots of it. I think some people like this kind of curved look that Zotac does. I'm just not sure how I feel about that overall look. I don't know, guys. But anyway, this is available for you if you are interested. And in a strange GPU design, Paladin, which I believe, according to this article, used to be known as Radeon, is a Chinese board partner, and according to the videocards.com article, has some questionable design and naming choices. And I would agree with that assessment. First of all, I don't hate the idea of this kind of pixelated design. Maybe somebody is looking for that. What seems a bit weird is using the Tai Chi naming scheme, which is an ASRock trademark, I believe. Also, their box here saying gaming graphics card, where usually it would say something like, this looks like Nvidia box, but it just says gaming graphics card, and apparently there will be some AMD and Nvidia GPUs in boxes that look like that. Overall, the whole thing seems a little bit questionable, but there you go. Apparently these should be available for the 618 shopping festival in China. And getting into apparently motherboard and graphics card business, we see the company aigo, or maybe it would be aigo probably, reportedly entering the motherboard and graphics card space. This is coming from Board Channels. It says a well-known brand has already negotiated internally and plans to introduce board products. It may not be long before the board products will be officially launched. Again, we're talking about aigo, which apparently you do not capitalize the A. Now, we're getting some Intel Arc graphics drivers reporting some, first of all, some support for Counter-Strike 2 and F123, and also looking at some Destiny 2 DX11 performance improvements, up to 11% uplift in Destiny 2. Looks like some major optimizations happened for F123, so if you're going to be getting that on an Arc GPU, you'll definitely want to update to this latest driver. And Counter-Strike 2 looks like getting a 10% uplift at 1080p very high settings and 8% at 1440p high settings. Now, they're continuing to advertise the value that they offer compared to Nvidia's RTX 3060. Of course, they're still comparing themselves against a $320 3060, whereas you can actually find those now for closer to $280, even on the 12 gigabyte models. And again, they don't tend to compare themselves value-wise up against AMD GPUs, which also offer very good value compared to NVIDIA's 3060. Well, the 3060 is looking a lot better now that its price has dropped a bit. Now, NVIDIA also has a new graphics driver available, looking like it's targeting F123, and also has some fixed issues. So, including, there was an annoying monitor flickering issue happening after one of the other driver updates recently, when you had multiple monitors plugged in supporting adaptive sync. So anyway, a couple of things you might want to be aware of there with that driver update. Now, in game update news, The Last of Us Part 1 on PC has finally reached update 1.1. There's been a bunch of updates. The 1.1 update should see a lot of optimizations, apparently optimized enough now to even get Steam Deck verification. Among these updates, I think it looks like there's a bunch of improvements to CPU and GPU performance, they say, improvements to textures and environmental loading, which should help you be able to rein in the VRAM usage quite a bit, which was one of the big issues at launched. it all basically is, there's a whole bunch of updates. We don't need to get into all of the details, but overall, a lot of improvements. So as I do a new, I'm going to be retesting my high-end GPUs, possibly some other ones as well very soon, and I will continue to include The Last of Us in that update. It might be interesting for me to compare my testing up against the previous update to see if I'm noticing anything major to report on that myself. I will say that the shader compilation has gotten a lot quicker. I have actually already started some of my testing, and while it still takes a while to optimize the shaders, I feel like it's more in the like 5 to 10 minute range now, at least on my fast CPU. It would be slower on slower ones. Whereas when the game first came out, it was like over 30 minutes. So that's getting a lot better. Now, a little bit of Xbox console information. There is a new Series S version coming in with a 1 terabyte SSD and a all-black design starting September 1st, but with the price bumped up to $349, whereas the original version was at $299. Now, while I like the black design and I like getting a larger SSD available, I have some issues with this price point. Mainly my issue with this price point is that PlayStation 5s have a diskless version at $400. And the PlayStation 5 is significantly more powerful than a Series S. So, I don't know. I feel like as you get close to the price of a PlayStation 5, it starts being questionable whether the Series S makes sense at $350. It's still a lot cheaper than the Series X at $500, so it does have that going for it. And again, I do like the black design with more SSD space, so that's all good. And for those of you who were wondering, are we eventually going to get a mid-generation console upgrade for Xbox consoles? It looks like, at least currently, the answer is no. And that's coming directly from the Microsoft Gaming CEO, Phil Spencer, where he just says, that's not the feedback we're getting right now. Right now, we're pretty set on the hardware that we have. All right, guys, hopefully you found this hardware news video interesting and useful for you. Huge thank you to subscribers. And if you'd like to support the channel directly, you can hit the join button down below to support financially directly. Thank you to all the people who've already done that. And thank you to all viewers, subscribers, everybody. I hope all of you have an excellent day.